Hey, Norman here, Twisted Auto Detailing After Dark. So this weekend I had the experience that finally recorded full kind of like start the beginning to end as far as moving vomit. Big thing. A lot of people, their detailers, are skittish or they say we don't take care of that or whatever, or making them excuse entirely. Or you got the few and the many detailers that will take this on. I had to remove the seat. You can see up, and yeah, it was just wasn't fun. Uh, it actually was fun. I do like being able to take a horrible mess and make it perfect again. Um, many details they do. They refuse bodily fluids from humans, blood, vomit, but they don't care if it's from an animal, which is kind of weird. I don't mean anything about not being a detailer. You're not a professional detailer, but like, no offense, these are parts of the job that are here. It's like being a mechanic, yet you change tires. Like, you were, a nurse or you something like that, like nurse, but you still have to do customer service. Like, there's still an aspect of your job that you're gonna have to do that, quote unquote, you didn't sign up for, or whatever you might have it. Um, but it comes into the realm of the professional way to frame this. I Customer called, said this is what happened. I'm like, yes, I take care of it. Bring it on in. The longer it stays in there, is the more of a problem it's going to be. Uh, the mental side, are you mentally able to handle this? Can you physically handle this? Can you handle the smell? Can you handle the sight? If it gets on your gloves or your pants, are you going to give the yak face? You gonna Are you gonna add to the problem, sort of speech, And that's where you kind of have to figure it out. And let's see here. But this is what I dealt with, start to finish. Boom. Oh, it's right there. It doesn't get any prettier than that. But you don't even notice. I had to remove that seat. A big part of this was a Mercedes GLA, so it's the miniature G wagon. I like to say this had two different bolts that I had to remove with two different sockets. On Amazon, there's like a specialty thing that I always tell people that they need to buy. Specialty, I think is socket. And I bought the extra large one. Now, wherever you're at in life, I 100% respect it. But these cars they're starting to put some wild bolt patterns in cars to where kind of don't want to be caught with your pants down. I think they're called e-torques. Dash TOR. And yeah, there's tons of just different ones. E-torque, ETORX. And that will get you set kind of on the search as far as like the bolts that you need or the sockets you need to be able to remove the bolts, because a lot of them are 6-keyed stars. Some of them are even safety starred and stuff like that. If you don't know what that is, they're just very different ways that the sockets will fit into these bolts that Mercedes will have, Cadillac, Lexus, very upper class vehicles, it's luxury vehicles will have. And if you don't have these, then you're just going to be in a world of hurt and figure of speech, caught with your pants down. But they look like, I can't find the one I bought, but this is pretty much just a slew of them. Oh, I think this is pretty much kind of what I had. Um, so they got the safety centers in there, and those are for specialty, smaller quarter inch, and then they got the half inch, and they got these E22s, E14s, TP, and stuff like that. These are something that you need as a detailer if you're having to take out seats, because a lot of these vehicles nowadays are being put in with specialty bolts. Not going to be a 16 millimeter bolt pattern, kind of the basics. It's going to be something new. So there's that. But back to it. So once you obviously see where the obviously the spill is, remove everything you can. I pressure wash this out, so I put down a solution um, that's an alkaline base, so it's basically eating away at this. I know a lot of people have their differences about it, but I just want to get it off as quick as possible. Luckily for me, the interior was pretty clean to where I didn't really have to vacuum, so I really went in actually with shampooing um, and stuff like that. So how I handled it is I didn't use a drill brush because I didn't want to fling it around. I used a pressure washer, obviously removing everything outside of the doorway, stuff like that. Because once I did shoot, it did get a couple of little specks here and there, and I just wiped them up with a rag, um, stuff like that. And then what you really need to be doing is having gloves on. You need to have gloves on, have eye protection. In this case, it was so cold to where there wasn't a smell, but obviously, if there was, you want to do that. Um, and I've handled this stuff enough to where I don't have to worry about it getting on me or in me or any of that kind of crap. But if you're in a warm spot, ventilation is key. It's just going to be very nasty and smelly. Um, and then to handle the removal of this on the carpet and stuff like that, I use my carpet extractor. Soiled the area, sucked it up, the thicker particles that were on the carpet, stuff like that. And then once I got everything physically off that I could see, then I did my dwell time for my enzyme treatment. And for enzyme treatment, what that means is it's a good thing to say. Enzyme treatment. And there's very specific ones. You know, you got there we go. They got Autobahn, BioPro. So these are for very serious suppliers. You know, even Superior from O'Reilly's even has a enzyme based cleaner. So like Protesis and Lapis and then Lapises. So these break down organic stains of matter. You're gonna have to dilute this kind of stuff. Because they just come in with a concentrated formula. That way, you're either handling, you know, so if it's like a 2 to 10 ratio, meaning 2 parts chemical, 10 parts water. Light soils might go to 4 to 10 as far as like mid, and then you might go anywhere from 6 to 10, if not 8 to 10, with the ratios just to make sure it kills what this is. Usually, vomit, I go with the higher end as far as dilution. So I would use like a seven parts cleaner and then 10 parts water. That way it's almost like a 50-50. Reason why is you let it dwell for about 15 minutes. I usually let it dwell between 15-30 minutes as I'm cleaning the rest of the car. That way I'm not really wasting my time waiting for paint to dry, sort of speech. Um, and then I'll scrub it after it's already kind of sat in and agitated. Or once I spray, I agitate it and I let it sit there for about 15-30 minutes. Once it gets to that point, then I do take out my carpet extractor and then go again. Far as actually now removing the chemicals, removing the solution, removing the grime and crud to actually have a clean, bio-free car. And then I do spray a neutralizer enzyme that dries with the wet fabric to ensure that anything that was living is not living anymore and that they have a pleasant ride going forward. This is what's going to put you in a different category than other details. You know, a lot of details like, oh, I can handle cat pee, dog pee, poop, whatever from an animal. But once it gets to human, they're like, "Urgh." And that's an important breakaway. You're either going to do it all or you're not. And those that'll do it all will have it all. Those that won't. So, or just find your niche. Like if your niche isn't about dealing with all that, hey, hat off to you. I'm glad you found your curve. puts in a bit of a rust spot when you can't take care of everything, when that's what people want when they're contacting a detailer. Uh, you know, so what it basically boils down to is just prep work. Like, did you, well, in this case, what I do is I always remove the seats, check every piece of plastic, fabric, vinyl that is at the source to ensure that I've cleaned everything off, it's bially neutralized, and it's clean. And so from there, I'll always start with taking the seat out. Obviously, if it landed in there, even if it's a back seat, I remove those seats out, and the price goes up. And I tell the customer every time, okay, sorry, I see where you barfed. That costs money to remove that. So this is going to be the new charge. I can't really help you because that's the situation that you're in right now. You've already crossed the line. Now you got to fix it. So, yeah. So, carpet extracting first, removing the seat, carpet extracting just with water to get everything out that, as far as the vomit. And that way, once you know you picked up like actually the chunks or whatnot of the vomit, you go in with your solution and then you scrub it, because now you don't have to worry about stuff getting flung around, stuff like that. And then I would usually just continue on cleaning the rest of the car to then wait for that 15-30 minutes dwell time. And I might go 30 minutes. Most of the time I don't. Sometimes it just doesn't need it. Then after that dwell time, I get in there and I zero out. So it's like I'm making sure that the only thing running through my carpet extractor is water, pure clean water, and just move forward. So never feel like you can't handle taking it on, because it might be a thing that's a make or break for your company to make sure you're ready to progress forwards. There you go. Anything else? You guys have a good night. Peace. What's it? Auto detail. Detailing after dark.